Okay guys, welcome to another video. In today's video I wanted to just talk about fire starting for a second. Primarily I want to talk about fire steels. I put all this on the table just for illustration. We have some waterproof storm matches, a Bic lighter waterproof case, kind of a little jet torch type thing, and a Zippo lighter and some waxed hemp. All of these are just kind of here for the show. Today I wanted to talk about fire steels, mish metal rods, ferro rods, and stuff like that. So the majority of what's on the market, this is, I don't know who makes it, but it's stuff like this. Now this one's a little better, and that's why I bought it. It was cheap, but it was a little bigger. But as you can see, you have a little nub to hold on to, and the rod on this one's fairly good, but a lot of the rods, they're about that long, an inch and a half, 2 inches. The other thing is this atrocity here, the short length of cord, you know, you find your strike surface, and the whole thing just feels very it works, but it's just kind of very crowded, like you're on a dog leash. Is this thing here, it used to be called a Blas match, and pretty much what it was is a self-propelled one-handed fire steel that had a cap, and you could use it one-handed and plow it into the ground, and it would put off some sparks. And yeah, you can use it one-handed. It's kind of bulky. I think it might float. But a couple issues, you know, I found is you have your fire there, and you're blasting this right into there, and it's a lot of like fire tinder and stuff tends to be kind of fragile and loose, so you're plowing this into there, spreading everything. But the biggest thing is this broke on me a couple months ago. I was using it, boom boom, just exploded. I lost the fire steel that was the ferro rod that was on there, and it broke. The spring still, I don't know, it's just kind of a joke. Now I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just a little too complex. It's almost like they're trying to overcomplicate something. So this isn't a bad thing. It's called a Blas match if it stays together. So that's where these come in play. So it's really hard on the market to find suitable. So we talked about how small that one is. And what I wanted was something that I could hold on to, like a screwdriver, full hand grip, and be fairly secure, not feel super crowded. So that's where these come in. So what I did is I took a Maglite, two Maglites actually. So this is a AA Maglite, top and bottom, so you can see how they would connect together there. And this is a AAA Maglite, right? And pretty much all I did is I took one of these. I'm not a machinist or anything like that. A tubing cutter, and cut the flashlight not quite in half. So the thing I like is now you have a storage compartment back here, which it's empty right now. I have to buy some more Tinder Quicks, but you can shove a Tinder Quick up there. You can shove, I would say you could fit about 10 to 15 Tinder Quicks in there, or you could put matches, or you could put a little fishing kit, or you could put water purification tablets, or fishing line, or a sewing kit, a sail needle, pretty much anything that's really small that you want to keep waterproof. Pretty much the ferro rod goes to about there. I measured 3/4 of an inch up because I don't want this coming undone, so 3/4 of an inch up. So this one you have, I believe, like a 1.75 inch compartment. This one you have you can picture about that much compartment. So quite a bit of space. And then I was just going to use the bodies, and then I cut it, and I was like, well, I might as well use these to make them too, because of this flare, it's a little easier to hold. So this is a smaller one, and pretty much I just took the top part off and put the ferro rod into there till it stopped or whatever. So this is a little smaller. This is like the smallest, but it's still very easy to use with that bell. But overall it's about maybe 4.5 inches. And then the kind of cool thing with this is you can twist the head off, and that's the end of the ferro rod. And then I stuffed some cotton balls in there so the epoxy won't leak through, and then I stuffed a fire starter up there. So you do have some waterproof storage on these ones as well, just not as much. But you pretty much unscrew this head here. I'm not going to take it out, but you can have an oil cotton ball or something in there. So you have a fire starter on demand with this. This is the same thing. I was going to put this ferro rod, let me just show you quick. So what I was originally going to do is do that number, right? But then I was like, if I use this so I don't waste any part of the flashlight, then I can have this unscrew, and then you can like store something in there. So as you can see, that's the end of the flashlight, and then just a little epoxy, and you can see how much of the ferro rod is secured. So it's about 1.5 inches of the ferro rod is secured. Some people will say that's overkill. I've had too many ferro rods just like I'm using it and the handle just pops off, so I wanted them glued very securely. Okay, so what do you need for this project? Well, like I said, I'm not a machinist. I don't have a big metal shop, so you don't need that much, and that's why I'm using these flashlights, because it's fairly thick gauge aluminum. As you can see, the wall on that one is very thick, but aluminum's also really lightweight. So the first thing's fire seals. What I used was, I got these from 5 Call Survival, and these are actually Austrian, made in Austria. They're called Original RU Metal Ferro Rod Blank 3/8 by 4 inch, and these are the ones made in Austria. I believe this is what Light My Fire uses on theirs, but this is the top grade of fire steel you can buy. Now this one here is a 1/2 inch by 6 inch, and it's made by Maglite, so it's kind of an overseas Chinese, a softer rod. But you can see I've used this to death. It has some ripples here, but I've used this a lot to the point where it's almost like an oval now, but you still have all this usable space. So I decided that the cost difference between going cheap and going with the highest end wasn't that extreme. But if you want to save some money, you could use a Maglite or a different Chinese import, whatever. I just like the reassurance that I'm using kind of a top grade fire steel. And then you need the Maglites. So this is a AAA version, a 2 AAA version, and then this is the AA version. You can use either one. The AAA version I like better for the 3/8 rod, or if you have a 5/16 or a quarter. It's just a little smaller, but the 1/2 inch diameter rod doesn't fit into the body of the AAA. So it really depends. It depends on what you have on hand too, because this is a 3/8 into the AA body, and that works too. So again, hopefully you found this interesting. It's a pretty fun project. It's, I would say, fairly easy for anyone to do, but it might be a little easier if you've kind of done stuff like this before. But if you have any questions, if you feel like doing it and you want some questions, follow-ups, measurements, tips, tricks, whatever, you can let me know in the comments and I can share some of those. But again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like always, go back to my homepage, watch some of my current videos. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.